G'day everyone, hope you're all safe and you're all well. Rick from Black Rose Spirited here. Just want to put out a couple of truths that I've gained over the last 45 years of being a spiritual teacher, a medium, a Reiki healer, and a dozen other things that I won't bore you with right at this moment. First thing I want to put out there, I want to talk about is rods. I suck at them. Absolutely suck at them, but some people are really good with them. In general, what happens with rods is a person will hold out the rods and will ask a spirit to step forward and ask a question and ask the spirit to move the rods in a yes and no fashion. That's a standard thing with rods. Now there are exceptions to the rule here, because there are some very spiritually advanced people out there who do high standards of mediumship. They can also do spirit channeling. They can also do trance channeling or semi-conscious channeling of spirit. And with the channeling side of it, if you're adept at all of that, you find that when you're doing some spiritual work, any sort of spiritual work, you tend to open yourself up and allow spirit, not just any spirit, because if you are advanced, you will feel what sort of spirit are around you, so you won't accept any negative spirit coming towards you. But if you feel a positive spirit that wants to communicate with you in one form or another, you tend to open yourself up and you allow that spirit to come into your aura. Allowing that spirit to come into your aura does two main things. One is that it forms a communication with that spirit, and they are able to communicate with you directly. And you can learn quite a lot from that spirit, indirect spirit communication work. The second thing is, if you're using rods, the spirit coming into your aura can manipulate your arm movements, your body movements, your hand movements. So sometimes when you're looking at a video of somebody using rods and you see the person's hands moving, why not ask yourself, is this person a very advanced person who accepts spirit into their aura when they're doing spirit communication work? Because if so, that spirit has the ability, and the person allows that spirit to move their arms, their hands. It's not a conscious thing that the person is doing. The spirit is just doing it. The person may be focusing on the rods. They could be focusing away from the rods. But the spirit is actually handling the situation, the communication. So the spirit can actually move the rods, or they can move the person's hands. And this is part of an advanced thing that you learn when you're delving into the spiritual realms. Now, I've been involved in the paranormal field for, like I said, 45 plus years. And the spiritual realms, spiritual work and all that sort of stuff, all sorts of things. And the thing that gets on my goat is that, it's only recently that I heard this as well, there are people out there who tend to believe that you cannot do demonic energy removal work if you're not an ordained minister, if you're not a Catholic priest. So I must be just the odd person to that rule, I could tell you, because and I know there's some other people out there as well who do that type of work, and we definitely are not Catholic. We are not religious in any way. You don't have to be religious. There's a big common fallacy that you need to be religious, that you need to do all Catholic hoodoo guru stuff. I have my own way of removing demonic spirit. I've done so several times in my lifetime. It's not a nice thing to do, and there are other people out there who do things in their way too, and they are not Catholic priests are not ordained ministers. You don't need to be. Basically because of the factor that religion has got nothing to do with demonic energies. Angelic energies have nothing to do with religion. It's a simple factor that angelic energies, negative energies, demonic energies, they were all there before man came up with this idea of religion. Religion was created by the churches to control the people. That's how religion started. Way before that, there was still angelic energies. There was still higher spirit. There was still negative energies, negative demonic energies. So, in my view, you don't need to be an ordained priest to remove anything. You don't have to be religious to move any demonic energies. You just need to know how to do it properly. And that is the hard bit. That is the bit where you either need to be trained to do things like this properly, or you just have a natural ability, which is basically where I sort of fell into it there. And a lot of it comes from, if you think about, each one of us had past lives. Every one of us went through different past lives. Perhaps I was one of those people that ran around the world, could have been religious or whatever in a past life. May not have been religious. I could have been pagan, could have been Wiccan, I could have been shamanic, you know. I know I had Indian past lives and I was removing negative stuff. So perhaps those past lives creep into your current life and give you the ability to do things that you don't need bloody certificates for. You don't need pieces of paper saying that you can do it. You don't need to be particularly trained in anything. You know, to me, piece of paper or just a piece of paper, you know, anybody can get a piece of paper. It's very, very simple. But the thing is, are you able to actually do something positive with what you know? The next thing I want to talk about is demonic dolls. And I really do laugh about this sort of thing. Honestly, a demonic energy, I've dealt with quite a few in my lifetime. Demonic energy has no reason to attach to an inanimate object. What use has it got going into a doll? A demonic energy wants to manipulate your mind, wants to manipulate your body, wants to send you around a twist. You can't do that inside a doll, can it? So there is no such thing as demonic dolls. The other thing I want to mention too is that dolls that have spirit attachments, yes, they very muchly do exist. We've got quite a few in my house, in our house here. What I do want to say is that the spirit does not reside in a doll. The spirit is still free to move around the house. It's free to move around anywhere it likes. It's just attached to the doll. It doesn't live inside the doll like a lot of people tend to believe. You know, that's a common fallacy. People believe that a spirit is inside a doll. It's not. It resides outside the doll. It's got an emotional attachment to the doll for some reason or another, and we're not going to go into the reasons behind all of this sort of stuff, but I just want to say that spirits are not inside dolls, they are outside of dolls. We've had cat balls and other paranormal gear on the other side of the room, and we've asked one of the doll spirit to set it off. Well, I didn't see the doll spirit move across to to move the balls or play with some of the paranormal gear, the spirit actually isn't attached to the doll but can move around freely around the house. Okay, so yeah, so that's a common untruth there. The other thing I get a good laugh about is those people who run around screaming about paranormal unity and how we should all come together and whatever else. Yeah, they're the biggest hypocrites I've ever bloody well seen, I could tell you. And it's just ridiculous. Um, my advice to people out there is um, just be cautious about who you associate with. And, you know, it's like there are people who are out there for real and doing things with heart, and stick with those types of people. You know, you'll soon suss out who's good and who's not. Um, don't hang around controlling people, or people who tell you that you need to think like this, you need to think this and that. It's not on. Okay, everybody's got their own way of doing things, and everybody's got the freedom to do things and learn things in their own way. You know, that's what life's all about. You know, there's so much out there, and there's so many different avenues that you can play around with in the spiritual and paranormal field, and you'll find the bits that you're good with. Stick with them. Stick with the people who accept you for who you are, regardless of you know, whether you walk a straight line or whether you work an alternative, you know, route. You know, it's be with people who accept you, and if people don't accept you, just say see you later. You know, they're not worth knowing. All right, there's probably a lot of things that I do want to say, but I just wanted to try and keep this as short as possible. And I just want to wish you all out there to stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, and we're trying to get out there a little bit more. I've had a lot of restrictions, COVID restrictions and all that, but hopefully soon we'll get out there and we'll do a little bit more paranormaling out in the field. We've got a couple of interesting things coming up soon, so hopefully we'll get to video all of this. And yeah, well, thanks for tuning in, and stay safe. Thanks. Check you later.